They are the future king and queen, celebrated globally for their flawless public image, their tireless charity work, and their seemingly modern approach to the ancient institution of the monarchy. But behind the perfectly polished facade, Prince William and Kate Middleton have just made a startling maneuver in Windsor that has left two innocent families displaced, their entire neighborhood seething with resentment, and anti-monarchy experts crying foul over what they call a clear abuse of power and privilege. Hello, dear viewers, and welcome back to the channel. If you believe that even the highest members of the royal family should respect public boundaries and the rights of their neighbors, please take a moment to hit that like button and subscribe, because today we are peeling back the velvet rope to reveal the true cost of royal privacy. The Prince and Princess of Wales, in their quest for a more private, grounded life for their children, outside the constant glare of London, relocated their primary residence to the tranquil estates surrounding Windsor. The move, initially lauded as a sign of their commitment to a more sustainable, less ostentatious royal life, centered around their new locale, specifically near Forest Lodge. However, according to an explosive new report published by OK Magazine, this highly anticipated move has revealed what many locals are calling the Wales's real faces. The sheer level of frustration and anger simmering among the residents who live in the vicinity of Forest Lodge is not based on simple jealousy or curiosity. It stems from tangible, disruptive actions taken allegedly on William and Kate's behalf, actions that directly impacted the daily lives and livelihoods of those living nearby. The core of the complaint centers on two distinct yet equally egregious issues: the appropriation of public access routes and the forced removal of long-term residents. Let's first address the issue of accessibility, which many might dismiss as a minor inconvenience, but which speaks volumes about the perceived entitlement of the royal couple. Reports indicate that William and Kate have essentially thrown up barriers, blocking access to several roads in the immediate area surrounding their new home. But perhaps the most peculiar and frustrating blockage involves a beloved, nearby Christmas tree farm. Imagine for a moment, it's late November, the air is crisp, and you are planning your annual, cherished trip to the local farm to select the perfect fir tree, a tradition perhaps spanning decades. Now suddenly, because the future king and queen have moved in down the road, your usual convenient route is sealed off. Locals are now forced to navigate significantly longer, convoluted detours just to carry out simple, routine tasks. This closure of public access routes, especially concerning something as innocuous as a Christmas tree farm, has become a potent symbol of the monarchy's perceived ability to simply take what they want, regardless of public utility. The land and the roads in question are fundamentally public property, maintained by the public purse, and intended for the use of the community. This is not a matter of a private estate protecting its grounds. This is about the closure of shared infrastructure. Speaking to Newsweek on this very subject, anti-monarchist expert Graham Smith, the CEO of the organization Republic, pulled no punches in his assessment of the situation. Smith stressed that while the issue of the Christmas trees might seem trivial or even silly on the surface, the underlying principle is critical. The point is, this is all public property, and William should not have been able to close those roads and close access to that land, Smith stated emphatically. He continued, highlighting the fundamental ethical breach. It's not his to do what he wants with. This isn't merely about inconvenience. It's about establishing a dangerous precedent where royal security concerns, or simply a desire for greater seclusion, can unilaterally override established public rights of way. The residents feel they are being treated as secondary citizens, their needs and routines completely disposable in the face of royal demands for absolute privacy. But the road blockages, frustrating as they are, pale in comparison to the second, far more serious allegation: the forced displacement of local residents. The report revealed a deeply unsettling detail. Two separate families were compelled to vacate their homes prior to the arrival of the Prince and Princess of Wales at Forest Lodge. While the families were reportedly relocated to other properties within the expansive Windsor Great Park estate, the trauma and disruption of being suddenly uprooted cannot be overstated. These were homes, places where lives were built, memories were made, and communities were established. To be told you must pack up and move simply because the future monarch desires more space or a cleaner security perimeter is, for many, the ultimate expression of unchecked privilege. Graham Smith did not mince words when discussing this human cost. He pointed out the raw power dynamic at play. He's also forced two families, to move out of their homes. They were relocated to other places on the Windsor Great Park. But this is just another example of William just basically sticking two fingers up to local people and then just grabbing land that isn't his just so that he can move from one house to another. The phrase "sticking two fingers up" is powerful, suggesting blatant disrespect and disregard for the community. Smith concluded his assessment with a stark summary, labeling the entire sequence of events exactly what it appears to be. So, it's just an abuse of power and privilege for me. This incident raises profound questions about the relationship between the modern monarchy and the public land it occupies. Windsor Great Park, while historically linked to the crown, is now largely managed for public enjoyment and benefit. When royal convenience requires the closure of public roads and the eviction of citizens, it creates an optics nightmare that undermines the very notion of service that William and Kate so meticulously cultivate. The monarchy often justifies its immense wealth and land holdings by claiming they are held in trust for the nation. But when that trust translates into displacing families and restricting community access, the argument quickly falls apart. The residents of Windsor Great Park are not asking for much. They are simply asking for the continuity of life they enjoyed before the arrival of the future king and queen. Furthermore, we must consider the security implications that are often cited as the primary reason for these extreme measures. While the need to protect the royal family is paramount, especially given their high profile, the public needs assurance that security protocols are proportionate and do not automatically entail the seizure of public amenities or the disruption of private lives. If the only way the Prince of Wales can secure his residence is by making local life unbearable, perhaps the chosen residence itself is inappropriate. The situation surrounding Forest Lodge is a microcosm of a larger, ongoing debate about royal expenditure and land use. Every decision William and Kate make regarding their housing, travel, and security is scrutinized through the lens of public funding. When that scrutiny reveals actions that appear selfish or overly entitled, it fuels the Republican movement and erodes public support, particularly among those who already question the necessity of inherited power in the 21st century. Graham Smith's organization, Republic, has long argued that royal residences and the land surrounding them should be fully nationalized and managed for the benefit of all citizens, not just for the convenience of one family. This latest incident, involving the forced relocation of two families and the closure of a community access road to a Christmas tree farm, provides Smith with powerful, tangible evidence to support his claims of systemic privilege. It paints a worrying picture of the future reign. If Prince William, who has often been portrayed as the empathetic and modern face of the monarchy, is willing to use his influence to displace neighbors and inconvenience an entire community simply for a slightly better security buffer, what does that say about his understanding of public service versus personal comfort? The move to Windsor was supposed to represent a fresh start, a retreat to relative simplicity compared to the formality of Kensington Palace. Yet, the reality seems to be that the inherent privilege of their position follows them, and often that privilege comes at a direct cost to those who happen to live nearby. It is critical to remember that the families who were moved out were not thrown onto the street. They were relocated within the vast royal estate. But this detail does little to mitigate the feeling of being dictated to by a powerful entity. When you are forced to leave your home, even if you are given another, the sense of control over your own life is shattered. For elderly residents or those with deep roots in their immediate community, such a forced move can be profoundly traumatic. The silent message conveyed by these actions is clear. The needs of the crown supersede the needs of the common citizen. And in an era where the monarchy is desperately trying to prove its relevance and value in a modern democracy, such actions are deeply counterproductive. The media coverage of William and Kate is typically overwhelmingly positive, focusing on Kate's impeccable style, their adorable children, and their dedication to mental health initiatives. This latest report, however, cuts through that carefully curated image, presenting a stark reality of the less glamorous side of royal life. The side where power is exercised not through charity work, but through property management and security dictates. The residents near Forest Lodge are right to be upset. Their lives have been genuinely disrupted. They are faced with longer commutes, restricted access to local amenities, and the uncomfortable reality that their community's comfort is secondary to the privacy of their royal neighbors. The Christmas tree farm issue, while seemingly small, embodies the casual disregard for local custom and convenience. In conclusion, the shocking move by Prince William and Kate Middleton to secure their new residence at Forest Lodge by closing public roads and forcing the relocation of two families has become a major flashpoint. It has galvanized critics like Graham Smith, who view it as irrefutable proof of royal abuse of power, and it has left the local community feeling frustrated and powerless. The question remains, will the Prince and Princess of Wales acknowledge the genuine upset they have caused, or will this incident simply be swept under the royal carpet as an unfortunate but necessary consequence of their security requirements? For the monarchy to thrive, it must demonstrate respect and accountability. Right now, in the shadow of Forest Lodge, that respect seems conspicuously absent. We want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on this situation? Do you believe the security needs of the future king and queen justify closing public roads and displacing local families? Or do you agree with Graham Smith that this is an unacceptable abuse of power? Let us know your perspective in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching today. If you found this discussion illuminating, please subscribe for more deep dives into the true stories behind the headlines. We'll see you in the next video.